Get the cheese to Sickbay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
Welcome back to the shipyard and Get the Cheese to Sickbay. Today, Romulan named ship abilities. This is an area where a lot of times you'll take the named ship, but a lot of times you end up taking generics. So I wanted to take a look at named ships and say, hey, what works, what doesn't, and what can be done better. So going to start with the scimitar and go from point cost high to low. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. So the scimitar, I like the named ability. After you attack while cloaked, you may place an aux power token beside your ship to keep your cloak token from flipping to its red side. Not everybody uses it, but it works. My issue with the scimitar is limit of 90 arc. That would be a ship that could work with a 180 forward firing arc, but realistically it needs to be on a large base. Same size as the Borg Tactical Cube. That ship is gigantic. Yeah, that's my problem. It's a 7-hull ship. It makes sense to be on a big base. Alright, the Avatar of Tomed, the Borg Romulan version. When you perform a cloak action, you may immediately perform a regenerate action as a free action. If you do so, you cannot attack that round. That's just the reminder text for regenerate. It's thematic, but ultimately it's an action. It's an ability that you're basically never going to use. Regenerate only works on damaged hull. So unless you're cloaking, taking damage, and then firing, losing your cloak, and then wanting to do it all over again, you're not going to use this named ability. If this worked on shields, it might be better. So if this was repair a damage, and then came with the same stipulation of not being able to attack, it would work. But thematically, being able to still attack would be perfectly fine on this as a named ability. That would be my fix here. Let this be when you perform a cloak action, you may immediately repair a hull or a shield as a free action. Done and done. If you want it to hurt a little bit, add an aux power token. Maybe that's the balance that would be necessary there. Alright, now we're getting into the entirety of the Dideridix class. This is the 30.3264 Dideridixes. And first, the Avatar of Tomed just Romulan version. During the roll attack die step of the combat phase, you may roll +1 attack die. If you do so, suffer 1 damage to your hull. This one's tough because it's only 1 attack die. There's no way to use this multiple times in the same round. And it's damage. Romulans don't have any means of repairing, at least not efficiently. They do have like self-repair technology. But that's a tech slot. That's a very valuable tech slot. And this is on a ship that has 1 crew, 3 weapons, and 1 tech. It's not what you want. So the fix for this, I think it needs to be roll a die and maybe take damage. That or take aux power. But guaranteed damage to the hull, that just hurts too much. Or why not just damage? Let it go to the shields if you still have your shields active. That could be better balanced. The Belloc I like a lot, just to remind people of the ability. When defending, you may reroll one of your battle station's results. If your ship is cloaked, you may reroll all of your battle station's results. I do like that ability. I think that it should maybe include blanks, give you the option to reroll blanks or battle stations, not both. So that could be an interesting named ability to reroll blank results or battle station results, but not both sets. Make it 2 distinct sets of results. Alright, the Hakona. This is the one that, when attacking with your primary weapon while cloaked, gain +1 attack die for every other Romulan ship in your fleet, max of +4. So, this I don't have any problems with. You want to take more Romulan ships, you get extra dice for doing so, passive ability, and you just have to attack with your primary weapon while cloaked. That's a little restrictive, but it's what the Romulans want to do, and since you can get a lot of attack dice, I'm okay with it. I will quibble with the slot outload on this ship. 3 crew, 2 weapons, no tech. Really hurt the Hakona. I'd like it to go to, say, 3 crew, 1 weapon, 1 tech. I think that would be a lot better slot outload. Yes, I know that's the Khazara, so maybe 2 crew, a weapon, and a tech. That might be better. But this is the perfect ship for charging weapons. So, get a passive reroll. Speaking of the Khazara, if you initiate an attack while cloaked, add +1 attack die. You're not really going to run it, but for a passive named ability, it works. You put type 8 on this, you figure out another way to get a weapon slot, and then you put the weapon from the Terex, and then you're rolling 5 without the named ability, 6 with the named ability. This works pretty good. Alright, the Tamet. This one needs a lot of help. Action: if your ship is not cloaked when attacking with your primary weapon at range 1 this round, gain +1 attack die and roll -1 defense die. If this was passive and a May, then it could work. But for an action to trade a die solely at range 1, bad. Bad. Okay, so how do we fix this? Get rid of the action. So, if your ship is not cloaked when attacking with your primary weapon, now let's get rid of the range. This round, gain +1 attack die and roll -1 defense die. So you may. We'll trigger this at the start of combat phase. At the start of combat, if your ship is not cloaked, you may activate this ability or something. If you do so, when attacking with your primary weapon, gain +1 attack die and roll -1 defense die this round. So that gives you an extra attack die, costs you a defense die. I think that would be better. It's not the best fix in the book, but it can help. Now, the Azurmer, or however that's said, nobody quite knows. Each time you attack, you may reroll one of your attack dice for every damage card assigned to your ship. This one works. I like that it's each time. This one's the perfect ship for the disruptor beams. It's the one that targets all the ships in your forward arc and rolls like 3 dice against them. So this just lets you get all the quality you want. I don't love the named ability, but I don't hate it. This one's pretty good, all things being considered. All right, now it's time for the Valdors. And we'll start with the Valdor. There's nothing to fix here. This is the, if you perform a green maneuver, add +1 attack die for the remainder of this round. Which is +1 attack die. I guess I would like an each time, but then that can really break things. Really what the Valdor class needs is a tech slot. And everybody knows that, and it's been said so many times. But the Valdor class needs a tech slot. It's more advanced than a Daenerys. It needs a tech slot. Alright, the Vrax. Talk about a limited ability. If you reveal a 4 straight maneuver, immediately before you move, you may change it to a 4 bank maneuver. Treat this as a red maneuver. No. Here's how we fix it. If you reveal a straight maneuver, immediately before you move, you may change it to a bank of the same speed. If you do so, place an Ox power token beside your ship. So it's still treated as the same color, but then you're getting an Ox at the end of it. Or you don't add the Ox, you treat it as the same color as whatever you reveal, because it's a named ability on a ship. You want it to be good, and getting a bank instead of a straight isn't going to break everything. I think really they put in the red to make it so you couldn't do this every single turn. So you need to figure out some way to do a cooldown on it. Maybe you put time tokens on the ship and say while the ship has time tokens you cannot use the named ability. Put in a rule for that. I think that could work out. But really, I want this to be flexible. That represents the maneuverability of the Valdor. The Valdor has 1 and 2 banks as greens. 3 banks are white. 4 banks don't exist, but they could. And I think adding that would be useful. So that would be my fix. Let this work on all straight maneuvers. The Valdor class only has 1, 2, 3, 4 straight. And keep the same color. And then maybe add time tokens, 2 time tokens, so you can't do it every single round. Otherwise, ships would just be flying all over the place. Alright, now we're going to drop down into some cheaper ships. Prototype 01 is absolutely perfect. During the end phase of each round, repair 1 damage to your hull or shields, your choice. The Scorpion for fighters. Named ability. If you attack during a round in which you perform a come-about maneuver during the modified attack dice step, you may reroll all of your blank results. That would be great if the 3 come-about wasn't red. The 2 come-about's white. That's nice, but really this ship has problems with its upgrades and the attack dice. But I've harped on Scorpion fighters in my review. Go watch that, and you'll get all you need to get about that. Alright. The Augeron. When attacking with your primary weapon, if your ship is not cloaked during the declare target step, you may perform a 1 straight maneuver before choosing an enemy ship to attack. As written, that would be great. The rulings that Worf made about this, where you have to declare the target, make your move, and then if the target isn't in your arc after you move, you don't get to make the attack, is completely counterintuitive. Because this ability explicitly states before choosing an enemy ship to attack. So people be sensible and read the card as written and just do a 1 straight when it's your turn to attack and then decide who you're attacking. Ignore Worf on that one. And this is actually a really cool named ability. Alright, the Galgathon, the Romulan bird of prey. When initiating an attack while cloaked, you may fire plasma torpedoes without needing a target lock. This is cool. It needs to be expanded to photon torpedoes as well, or secondary weapons in general. The plasma torpedoes is certainly thematic, but for the sake of this being very usable, it needs a little bit more. The Galgathon ultimately needs a tech slot, but it can't quibble too much. Alright, next we have the Vorta Vor. While you are cloaked, after you perform a green maneuver, you may perform a sensor echo as a free action. This is also a very cool ability. The Vorta Vor was a blind booster, one of the first blind boosters, and it's a good named ability. As long as you can stay cloaked, you just do green maneuvers. The ship has 4. And you get sensor echoes. This is something that Romulan ships need. They need to be able to do sensor echoes. And the more echoing they can do, the better off they are. So, again, I don't have a good fix for the Vorta Vor because I like it. I like the named ability. Now, we have the Ratag. This was the prize ship in, I think, Corbomite maneuver. When defending, if your ship is cloaked, you may reroll up to 2 of your defense dice. Again, this is good. The Romulans need passive quality. I'm cloaked, I get to reroll 2 defense dice. Like, I feel like that should be part of cloaking, not a specific named ship ability. Just, hey, I reroll 2 of my dice because cloak should get some quality. So yeah, good ability there. All right. Moving down to scout vessels, the Pie. During the activation phase, you may perform a scan action as a free action. If you do so, place an Ox Power token beside your ship. Yes, I know this enables combos, but it's a scout vessel. It's got 1 attack die. Scanning is meant to help with attacking, not with defense. And what I would prefer to see this do is this needs an upgrade that lets another ship use its scan token. If that existed, this would be awesome. As it is, I don't really have an issue with the named ability, but I feel like it's a waste. Like, this could be used on something else, something with some punch. Then we also have the Voe. After you move, you may perform an evasive action as a free action. If you do so, you cannot attack during this round. Yeah, sure. I've used this a bunch because I'll cloak the Voe, I'll never fire, and then I get 7 defense dice plus an evade token. And you can't hit me, or it takes a lot to punch through me. And that's a good thing. So I actually do really like that named ability as well. All right, now the Enterprise era Birds of Prey. We have the Jazz Call. While there is a scan token beside your ship, you cannot be targeted by any elite talent upgrades, and you roll +1 defense die against all attacks made with secondary weapon upgrades. This is interesting, but elite talent upgrades don't want to mess with you, and secondary weapons probably don't want to attack you, except maybe Meg charges, and they're going to make you roll 0 defense dice anyways. So thanks for the extra defense die, because none plus 1 is still none. Again, I think this is a really cool idea, but the actual application of the named ability just isn't practical. So, how would I fix it? Maybe while there's a scan token beside your ship cannot be targeted by any upgrades, and you roll +1 defense die against all attacks? Or how about get rid of the targeting, and just, while there's a scan token beside your ship, you roll +1 defense die against all attacks. Plain, simple. Scan helps me shoot you better, and gives me a little bit extra on my defense. I would be perfectly fine with that, and then I'm not limited to secondary weapons, which most people don't run anyways, so, Alright, the Praetus. You may use the Cloak action, even if you have no active shields. When you choose the Cloak action, roll 1 attack die. On a battle station's result, your hull sustains 1 damage. So 2 out of 8 chance to take a damage. I'm fine with that. You know, maybe the better balance is on a crit, then it's 1 out of 8, but the 2 out of 8 is fine. It works. I don't know. This is a fine named ability. Alright, we're down to the last 2. The Apnex. An action once per game. Every ship at range 1 sustains 1 damage, including this ship. During the planning phase, this ship must choose a 1 maneuver, forward, bank, or turn, for the rest of the game. Yeah, so the Apnex is basically ejecting their core and detonating it and making it hurt for everybody. I really like the sneakiness of this. I used this at least once early on, and it catches people off guard. I also had it used against me, and I was not expecting it. And I like that it's an action, because you're controlling when you get to do it based on your captain skill. This one works. So, and it's it's damage. It's hits you right then and there. You can kill ships. You can finish people off. It's like Decker without giving them an extra attack die, but the problem is it doesn't go to their hull. It just hits their shields first. So, yay for the Apnex. Alright, last one is the Talveth. Action, if you are within range 1 to 3 of at least one enemy ship, roll 3 defense dice. For every evade result, place 1 evade token beside your ship. You cannot perform any free actions this round. Here's the problem. Rolling 3 defense dice is probably going to get you 1 evade. Maybe it gets you 2, but the odds are it gets you 1. And that's my problem. I would like this to give me an evade and let me do the die roll. Even if it gives me 1 for sure and then rolls 2. And see if I get lucky for a second one. But I shouldn't be spending an action with the possibility of getting nothing. And that is a big gamble for me that I really don't want to take that chance. Now, I do like the Talveth from the standpoint of it has 3 tech slots. That much is cool. And that's probably what I'm using this ship for, is its named ability to have 3 tech slots. But this segment is about the named abilities text. So we fix this by saying, action, place an evade token. If you are within range 1 to 3 of at least one enemy ship, roll 2 defense dice. For every evade result, place 1 evade token beside your ship. You cannot perform any free actions this round. So that gets you 1 for sure, and maybe a second, and very rarely a third. But there's always a chance. In the last OP I played in, I had an opponent roll 4 defense dice, and he rolled 4 evades. So it can happen. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. So, there you go. So Romulan named abilities are actually better than I thought. I guess I just don't run them very often. Yeah, you guys were probably going, David, I could have told you Romulan named ship abilities were pretty good. There wasn't much need to get them to Sickbay. Well, that's why we do these things. So, I hope you enjoyed the exploration. I think it's worthwhile sometimes to say, hey, this isn't quite as bad as we thought. They did do a pretty good job designing these. So that's that. Tune in next week when we're going to take a look at Dominion Captains. I think that'll be fun. Alright guys, until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.